All right, I'm not perfect. This first try didn't work. Try number 2. Let's fix this TV before I end up having somebody else yeet it into another dimension. Let's try to make some awesome here. Sometimes things don't go right the first try, and that's why we have multi-part videos. Those of you that didn't see, this television was originally broken and is still broken because these tiny little 5-volt fans didn't do jack diddly squat. So unfortunately, we're gonna take this bad girl apart. We're gonna look at adding something a little bit beefier to it. Now these are just some old case fans that I had laying around, 140 millimeters for those that are following along at home. But I think we should look for the actual source of the problem before we start adding fans, so we can try to add fans to the right locations, because yes, ladies and gentlemen, the back of this TV is not going to stay this way by the end of this video. It's gonna be fun. All right, so the first thing I wanna do is kind of get all the crap out of the way, but I want to kind of go over a couple of the new tools. Some of these you will have seen before, and if you didn't see it, check out the FDM tools video that we just did. You'll notice the shirt's the same because I'm filming it the same day because this TV died in the middle of making that video. We'll actually cut to that footage right here. Really suck where the actual cut isn't great. I think my television just overheated. And so a lot of the tools that you see are actually left over from that video. I did clean the table, put some of the stuff away, but my back hurts. Someone give me a break here. The first thing we're going to do is kind of get everything off, but I do have something that is not common, right? So these are PC fans, right? So they run off of a PWM header, in this case, a 3-pin, so technically not PWM. It is power, ground, and I think temperature, maybe? I don't know, I don't know much about PC fans, but what I do have is a Molex power supply, and this will enable me to just, like Glade, plug it in, and get the fans to spin without doing anything crazy. Eventually, we're gonna hardwire these into a power supply, but that's gonna be in a bit. Let's get the fans out of here because really, first things first, I'm the realist. But no, actually we need to pull off back panel, and to do that, power tools. And I'm missing something. Let me go get that. Ah, yes, much better. A little bit of that new, some brand new 3M safety glasses. Because we're gonna need these. Ooh, we have a peel, ladies and gentlemen. We have a peel on some safety glasses. Oh, that is actually not as satisfying as I was hoping. Why? Come on. Thank you. Beautiful. That way I can protect my delicate little eyeballs. Links in the description for the 3M. I actually buy these in packs of 25 because you would not, maybe you're surprised, maybe you wouldn't be, of how often these things get scratched and are effectively useless. So I am hoping there's not too much glare on the camera, but if there is, deal with it. It's for safety. And we want to protect these baby blues, all right? Like, the one thing I have going for me right now. So, this is an easy task. See a screw? Remove a screw. Don't gotta be pretty, just gotta be effective. It's what I tell myself every morning. By the way, half of these fans are either loose or have completely fallen off. Now, it could be because of the heat in the garage. Could just be because I did a crappy job hot gluing. Let me know down in the comments what you think. I broke out power tools for you people. Come on. It's pretty darn cool. I gotta figure out where the screw holes are on this side, because I can't. Well, that one's just gone forever. Hey! That's not a lost screw, okay? That, ladies and gentlemen, is for weight savings and aerodynamics. And those of you that take electronics apart, did somebody else already start this? No. Ow. Hurts my back every time I stand up on my tippy toes, but sometimes it is required. Oh, come on. Yes, weight savings and aerodynamics, ladies and gentlemen. You didn't lose the screw. You shed weight. Just gonna play, this is honestly my favorite game with electronics, which is see a screw, remove a screw. And of course, they're not all the same dang size. Go friggin' figure. I've got one here, which I don't know what it is, but you're a little tiny boy. Is that all of you? Sometimes these smaller screws don't actually need to come out. Sometimes they do. Yep, these definitely do. You can see as soon as I got that last screw out, the entire input-output system right here just got loose. Ha-ha! Are we in like sin? All right, how many of you are gonna be stuck? Just one, not bad. And for those worried, I promise this weighs not even a pound. We're just gonna put that, I did not think this particular part through. You gonna stay? Cool. Oh, all right, well, geez, that's like, I can tell you where we're gonna put the fans, ladies and gentlemen. It's gonna be one on top of here, the other one on top of here. There is actually a lot less dust in here than I expected. Warning, right now, do not touch this crap unless you know what you're doing. There's a lot of dust. Oh, that is, that's something, I'll tell you what. Yeah, don't go poking and prodding around here. This is a massive, massive risk to your health. You can try here, and to do that, all you gotta do is just like turn on the power, which I think it's either the top or the bottom button for the television. And what happens is we've got these big capacitors right here and some other caps over here, some big transformers. These kind of things store energy. Transformers don't, but capacitors do. Those capacitors can release that energy in a very, very violent hailstorm into your delicate little fingies. And I think we've been over this. You don't want to lose those. So most likely we've got kind of two issues. We've got this ARM chip here. We got that chip up here. And I would bet dollars to donuts, this section right here is our culprit. And if we look, we can go get the power tools because we have a nice space right here that we can easily put one of those 140 millimeter fans and just blow air directly where it matters. This is fun. I'm gonna get to play with big old power tools. Big old power tools are fun. Probably do another one kind of in the same spot on the other side of the television. Shouldn't be all that bad. Actually, this is way easier than I was expecting it to be, so this is cool. But you guys will get to see me cut apart a television back panel, so that's fun. For those of you that are going to yell at me and say, well, the TV works! Yeah, it does work. It totally works. And what I'm doing should not compromise anything. Like, literally when we do the cutting, this won't even be on the table anymore. I'm going to have my lovely assistant come out and assist me in moving it. But this is actually pretty easy. I just got to cut. I have to mentally figure out where I want everything to go. The other thing that we have to watch out for are the Vizio mounts. So you can actually see the two of them here. There are two more that are actually on the back plastic, which is kind of weird. We don't want to get the fans too close to the Vizio mounts because some mounts can be much larger than others, and we don't want the fans to interfere with that. We could go fancy and do a nice flush mount fan mounted from underneath. I'm not going to do any of that. We're going to top mount them. That way they're out of the way, and we're not going to take up any extra space inside of the system. So let me get this off the table, and when I say me, I really mean one of my lovely assistants. And, yeah, we'll go from there. And so we're back from Outer Cats. I've got a couple of tools on the table. You can choose your general persuasion on how to do this. You can use a hacksaw, you can use drill bits and all that. But I happen to have a couple of other tools that I'm going to use instead. Now, I've got two options here. I can either use this lovely Dremel. It's a Dremel 4000 series. I particularly like the 4000 series because it has adjustable RPM that is quite good. So from 5,000 up to 35,000 RPM. There are other Dremels out there. We'll have links to this Dremel in the description because I love these. I've had this one for no less than 10 years. I beat the crap out of it and it just keeps ticking. But I actually don't know if we're going to need all the power of the Dremel because I think the Job Max will handle it. And the Job Max is a tool from Rigid that effectively has a main body that you slap a battery into. And all you end up having is a system that has multi-heads. So we can put this vibratory cutter on there, and now we have a little vibratory cutter. And all these do is they move back and forth very, very quickly to cut through things. This might be one of our better options. It's going to be very noisy, so we might opt to go to the router attachment, which I just have an end mill in here. This is not a drill bit, it is an end mill. We gotta first get some measurements. We're gonna put this to the side for now. We know kind of basically where we want everything to go. So let's grab our fans. Something to note on your fans. On these, I don't know if the camera's gonna pick it up. Looks like I can get it, there we go. We see the direction and the way that the direction, the way that the blades spin and the way that the air goes. So on this, the blades spin in this direction and the air comes up and out. So we are going to put one there and one similarly over here. Now we have some markers here, and these are just from the injection molding process. I'm gonna probably try to center it on those and get the height reasonably close. And so that's really what I was going with having that spare, those spare tools. Again, we could put these on the inside. It's not worth it to me. It's safer to put them on the outside. The extra room's not really a big deal. The mount is literally screwed into some shelves. I'm not gonna show you guys pictures because it looks like crap. So these are 140 millimeters, but I'm just gonna kind of eyeball this because realistically, they're going to do their job no matter what. I've got myself a pen. We'll see if the pen works. If it doesn't, we're gonna grab a Sharpie instead. Boy, it is shifting, but the pen does work. Would have been smart for me to like photocopy this and have like a piece of paper or something that I can use these on, but instead I can just align it. Try not to bend your back, Grant, because it hurts really friggin' bad. The reason we're choosing to do it this way is because if we just cut out this circle, it will make life a lot easier because we'll still be able to easily mount it, and I'm probably gonna start with hot glue. Yeah, probably gonna start with hot glue. So let's just put this one kind of back in place, kind of where we had it, somewhere around there. Yeah, good enough. Gonna move the Dremel off. I love these little attachments for the Dremel tool. You can also 3D print those for whatever that might be worth to you. So we're gonna cut the first one, and then we'll align it to the second one. So we'll do the first one first. Have my safety glasses on already. Don't have hearing protection, but that's okay. We're not gonna be doing this for too long. If you're planning on using power tools like this for an appreciable amount of time, put some dang ears in. And the only reason I am not getting hearing protection is because of my back. So it is painful to walk right now, and I just don't want to walk to get it. So we are going to just plunge cut in and then just go ahead and cut it out. This is probably going to give us a smoother cut. I'm just not certain. I'm not certain that it's going to work. Let's make sure. We got 3 bars on the battery. That's probably fine. All right, here's the salt in your eye. The end mills are not gonna like to plunge cut, so you're gonna have to kind of force it in. All right, we're in. Okay, well that absolutely stinks. This is gonna make a huge mess. This is gonna make it. All right, let's try the other head before I decide that I wanna make this much of a mess. Let's try the other head and see how this works instead. Honestly, not bad. Not bad. Now, so this is going to be a lot dirtier in terms of the way that it cuts, because you can't easily get it to just cut a line. I have some other bits. Let me go get those other bits. And let's see if we can make that work a little bit better, because that is going to be way less mess, because all the swarf and chips end up getting stuck to it. So I'll be right back. All right, so I might have misled myself and you all. I have no idea where the rest of these are. it's still a fun tool. So instead, we're going to engage the safety squints because it's time to use a Dremel. Oh, this audio is going to be so bad. Oh, that audio is going to be rough. Well, I don't want to get crucified by the internet for not using a face shield on a Dremel tool. So I'm going to use a face shield, and the audio is going to suck for a little bit. Because we're going to do some fine detail work, I am going to put on the little detail cone here, which is my personal favorite thing to be on the Dremel. Just makes holding it a lot easier. Now, the only thing you have to watch out for is kind of making sure you don't block too much of the ventilation on the Dremel when you have this thing on, because it is going to block ventilation. So we got that. We insert our tool. We push down on our lock. We grab our little wrench right here. Okay, power is off. Unit is plugged in. Contact. Oh, that is smoky. Yeah, we're literally just melting through this at this point. Television smoke. Don't breathe this. Almost. Yahtzee. Now, I'm a little remiss because in the FDM Tools video, I totally forgot to mention these. These are deburring tools, and they are awesome for cleaning your parts, but they also do absolute wonders on cleaning any plastic, metal, which is what they're made for. Just to clean the edge and make it look like you didn't hit it with a dull beaver. You can run your finger along the inside here, kind of get some of the shmoo off. I want to clean this up just a little bit. One of the big things when you're working with power tools is the 10-10 rule, or the same rule. 10 when you start, 10 when you finish. If there is any deviation, go to the hospital. Positive or negative, go to the hospital. All right, now let's take this off because it is very hot. We're gonna get this first one kind of lined up here. How do we do? Jeez, that's better than I was expecting. Dang, that's actually, kind of looks like I knew what I was doing. Jeez. Nobody tell anybody else, because jeez, it looks like as soon as we hot glue this, all of that I knew what I was doing is gone. But, you know your boy, and you know we gonna get some of that hot glue in there. We gonna get some of that hot glue in there. Now, we're gonna cheat. We're just gonna put a big dab here, big dab here, big dab here. I did also turn on my air compressor. So that we can just deal with the fact that this one leaks a lot, apparently. But I figured this was going to be a very, very messy build, so, well, there it goes. Probably never getting that back. Here's our little plastic disc. You can see all the damage done to it. That's all right. This is actually what smells like ABS, but I think it's glass fiber filled. But, doesn't really matter ultimately. It's not, well, no, that's not hot enough yet. It is coming out, but it's not coming out fast enough. We're not going to be able to get all of it around before she starts to tack up. So let's grab some handy dandy cutters here and just take that off. Yeah, these deburring tools are awesome, especially when their blades are fresh. I know this one does not have a fresh blade in it. When their blades are fresh, man, they really just trim plastic parts like nobody's business. And if this doesn't work, I'm getting a new TV, by the way. If this just doesn't work, I'm going to get a new TV. And by new, I mean new to me, because we're a small business here. We don't have new TV money. All right, so clearly I don't know where to actually put the hot glue, but whatever. It's on. It's on, and it's probably not going to move. Probably. I said I was going to measure it, but honestly, I'm not feeling like measuring today. I think we'll just eyeball it, and you know what? I have a top-down camera, so I can also use the top-down camera to align things. I thought I could, but it's not as clear as I was hoping. Are you nice and stuck down? Totally are. Totally are. This looks about right. Grab that pen one more time. Good enough. Let's get the shield. Shield itself is kind of dusty. All right. Safety squints. It's better to use it like this. Can't recommend the smell. Smoke on the television. Oh, wait, hold on. And fire in this cup. All right, that one's basically a pretty clean drop. By the way, this is not like a normal cutting wheel. This is a diamond-coated cutting wheel. They are cheap like borscht. You can get them from Harbor Freight. And they work great when you're cutting through plastics because you're just brute forcing your way through it. You're not being delicate, because we're not delicate. Actually, we're quite delicate. Dating a nurse for as long as I have has taught me that humans are incredibly delicate, yet also incredibly strong. Generally, the difference is either drugs or age. And see, look at that. It looks like we kind of knew what we were doing. It's good enough, honestly. It doesn't need to look much better than that. How does this fit? Again, kind of like, it looks like we know what we're doing. I love this. So this time, I'm going to cheat and put the hot glue on the friggin' fan. Is that going to work, or are you going to... This one's going to need more hot glue. Also, there's a little bit of a gap over here. Now there's not. Ow! 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 Hot glue is not enough to burn you, but it's enough to make you just a little bit uncomfortable. I'm like, oh, that's warm. And then I'm like, oh, that's warm. This is so ridiculous. Like, this is one of the most ridiculous things I have done in a very long time. And I kind of love it. Make sure both can spin. They absolutely can. Now we're ready for the next massive glue stick, because apparently glue sticks don't come in shorter pieces than this. They do, just for some reason we don't buy them. This is not like, we're not like sealing anything, but if you can design it as if you were sealing it, it might make life a little bit nicer for you. And because I'm going to be persnickety here. There. Ow, 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 ow. We do it! We do it. Just because we can. I'm going to change this thing down to low. Stick it off to the side here. Going to unplug the Dremel. Let the power cord apparently fall on the floor. Dremel can sit back here. Thankfully, the hot glue gun did not go with it. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, they're on. These are... You are the weakest link. Like, no less than half of them had trouble spinning. It was honestly a little saddening. Because, like, this took a fair bit of work. But that's kind of the idea when you're DIYing things, right? This system worked. These fans were used. I don't really know about their history, so realistically, they're going away. They're going to the big rock candy mountain in the sky. All right. Our fans are here. We now need to get some power to this, and then we can test everything out. So I'm going to get some power, and I'll be right back. power cord in hand, let's get everything kind of wired up. So we gotta plug it in here. This is just for now. I'm gonna end up wiring this thing a little bit differently later on. Looks like a couple of the pins went off a little bit. That should be all right. Let's see. That's not good. I don't think the pins here are connected appropriately. Yeah, I know why it's not working. This system is different than how it should be. So I'm gonna go get a 12-volt power supply, and we're just gonna wire it up the real way. And I'm gonna do it with removable connectors. You guys are gonna get to learn about the 2.54 millimeter JST. It's gonna be fun. Let's do it. Right after this message from our sponsor. 3D Musketeers, that's right, we're gonna self-sponsor these over and over and over again so people can see how good we are at making sponsorships, or bad, you know, whatever. But we here at 3D Musketeers are able to take your ideas out of your head and into your hands with full art-to-part rapid prototyping and product development, utilizing awesome technology like 3D printing. And if you want to learn more about 3D printing, we'll have a card for you to go to our playlist all about 3D printing. This is not indicative of the work that we normally do. This is indicative of Grant having a personal project where you don't see what it looks like. It's just for go, not for show. Let's get the power supply. Let's cut all this stuff apart. Let's get to the live action. We've got our 2.54 millimeter pins. We got ourselves a 12 volt, 5 amp power supply, which is the definition of overkill for a project like this, but that is a-okay. Like a lot of, I'm gonna call us makers because calling us hoarders would just be rude. I have a stash of power supplies, and they're actually all sorted based on voltage. So thankfully, this one was not all that difficult to find. I didn't easily find one that was much lower on voltage, but that's okay. So what I am looking for now is the pin out because it's not clear. Cool, still not clear, doesn't tell me. So we're just gonna cut the end off and hope that the wires are color coded in a way that makes sense to us. To do that, we're gonna need the wire strippers, and even cooler, we get to use some of my fancy crimpers, my JST crimpers, which are these. Now you don't need to use fancy JST crimpers, but I will tell you, you do this often, it makes your life a whole heck of a lot easier. So let's cut this cable. Beautiful. I could even be really trick and wire this into the power supply of the television, but I'm not going to do that because it's just not necessary for the scope of this video. And I just don't want to as well. So let's see what we're working with here. All right, well, this one's a little bit easier than expected, but I don't like when they do this. This copper cable that I'm twisting up is my ground wire, and most likely this white cable is my power. Yep, there is nothing inside of it, so that is absolutely how those are going to go. I don't prefer this for JST, but we have a solution to that. We have heat shrink. And yes, we did pull some of this off. I'm not too worried about it. We should have plenty of copper left over. I see we cut through the white wire just a little bit, so I'm gonna give it a little bit of shrink tubing as well. Let's do that. And this is just a little protective sleeving, basically. So this is where color coding will be very, very helpful. I'm gonna put this on here. Beautiful. And we are also going to get a piece that is a little bit larger. And because it's 3D Musketeers, I gotta use the blue. I mean, come on, we gotta use the blue. We don't need much, so we'll cut it in half, and we will get both wires through here. And so this just kind of deals with the connector all the way down here. Ends up making it look a little bit prettier. Actually, it's not going to want to go. So we'll take care of these two pieces first, and then we'll get that one on in just a jiffy. Heat shrink is pretty awesome. I like using it on all of the things. And now we will also then be protecting it down here. And that's what you want to see, right? This will be great for the JST connectors. Gives us plenty of room to work with. So that's great. Now, inside these connectors, of course, links for these will be in the description. They don't generally come with the crimper, at least they didn't used to. Sometimes they do now, sometimes they don't. We are just going to do a pair. So we're just going to do 2 and 2. So we need 2 of these smaller pieces. Now, we're not pumping a lot of juice through these. Each of these fans is 0.14 amps, so we're at 1/4 of an amp total. That is well under the max rating for these, so I'm not concerned. We have both female and male pin headers. You need to use both. Now, I'm going to do one the hard way, so you guys can see how long it takes. Now, I don't know if we'll be able to zoom in all that much, but hey, that is all right. Cut that little connector off. 1 and 2. Now we are going to be proactive and get our heat shrink again, because we want to put all 3 of the wires through this heat shrink. And that way they don't get unruly, because we are not going to be using the yellow wire, I don't think. We might need to. Some fans you need to, some don't care. So we are going to see very quickly whether or not this is one of those. Gotta go up a size and heat shrink. That's why these kits are nice, so if you choose the wrong size, you just put it away, go with the next size up, which is this, which unfortunately doesn't have blue anymore, but we'll go with the green. No problems there. Cut that in half, because we only need half of it. And so we'll put it down to about there. Heat shrink it on. And then, again, it keeps the wires from being unruly. Now, it does appear that I accidentally cut the black wire when I was stripping it, so we need to strip some more of the red wire. Having your wires be roughly the same length is quite nice when you're doing these JST connectors, because then you don't have a lot of BS with wires not being the right lengths. So let's do one the hard way. And I don't have a good way to show you guys, so yeah, I'm just going to do one the hard way. I'm going to talk about what I'm doing, and hopefully it sticks with you guys. So you put the wire in. You first fold the pins over your actual wire, because you have to crimp this over the wire itself. So you fold it over the wire, which holds your wire sheathing on, and then you go ahead and crimp the one that goes over the actual wire itself. Okay? Now that wasn't that bad. I've done these hundreds of times, but I will show you it is way faster to use the tool. We grab the pin that we want, break it off, grab the tool which ratchets. There we go. We then just stick our wire in, which the wire needs to be a little bit tighter. We stick our wire in about the same depth, and then just give it the what for. And there you have it, a properly crimped JST connector, or 2.54 millimeter pitch connector. Now we're gonna do that a few more times, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna do it all nice and up properly. Now I'm actually gonna go to a triple, because I don't know if it needs to have anything to do with the yellow fan wires. And I don't want to find out the hard way that I was wrong. So instead of doing a double, I'm actually going to upgrade this thing to a triple. Now, I'm not going to populate a couple of them right now. I'm sure there's a better way to do this. This is the way that I've always done it. If I'm wrong, let me know. because I love learning, and I know that I am not always correct. I know, I just said it. I admitted to it. Now, for some reason, they're not going in all that easy. You can actually grab the end here and just pull. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Good enough. And the reason that we're choosing to use the male pins here is just because these wires are so much larger and these have power to them. So the hot pins, I prefer to have the female. That way you don't shock yourself. Remember, on this one, it's actually not a wire, it's heat shrink that is still on there. That's a good crimp. All right, so we're gonna put power in here. No, we're not. That is not going to fit. All right, we're gonna have to strip this back just a hair. And I don't like doing this, but this is one of those cases where there's so much wire that we can't crimp onto the actual insulation. Now, you generally want to crimp onto the insulation. It's a stronger, longer lasting crimp. But in cases like this, you may not have that option. So kind of got to work with what you got here. And I want this thing to fit in the connector. Viably, we should be using a different connector, but the JST is one of my favorites, and they're incredibly common in 3D printers. So it's really good to have experience using these. You know, good or bad. All right, let's see if this is enough to get it in here. Oh, man, nope. We gotta... See, this is where knowing how to do it by hand really pays off. We had a couple little errant wires that didn't get through. So we're just going to snip those off. Kind of remove any of the problem children here. Because these connectors are very tiny, and what isn't tiny is this actual system. So, good enough. And let's get the negative wire in here. And they just lock in place. And grab our two here. As expected, they're gonna be a problem for me. All right, let's see if that's good enough. Nope, it's pushing now the negative one out. This is the other problem with JSTs. They don't always lock all that well. You know, the more I go about this, the more I think this this 2.54 might be a little too small. Sometimes. All right, that should be good enough. They're in. They're in, so I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a test try. Let's hope we don't get some smoke. There we go. That's what we needed to see. Moving a fair bit of air. Yeah, I can actually feel it here, so that's great. That's kind of what we were going for. Thankfully, we don't need to use these yellow wires. We got the fan spinning, and that's kind of what the plan was here. This is a little jank, so let's talk about the things that went wrong. I can tell you all of them are completely due to not paying a ton of attention. And I have to get better on camera, because I normally don't do these type of projects on camera. So kind of is what it is sometimes, but we got this to work. But let's talk about the failure. So the first failure, this is not clocked correctly. This is down, this one is up. They should both be up or they should both be down. It should not be like this. This is not right. If I was smart, I might put hot glue or something, but I think for right now, it is more than adequate. We had the tool disaster where we needed to basically go find a bunch of tools. We couldn't find what we were looking for. So we ended up using, you know, what ultimately ended up being the right answer, but at the time, what I thought was going to be a close second. Ultimately, this is a success. Now I have to get some assistance to get this thing rehung, and by assistance, I mean use my management degrees while somebody else does all of the work. I'm pretty pleased with this. Not my greatest work, but ultimately, this is to solve a problem. It doesn't have to look all of that pretty. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. I didn't even need the ruler. I just measured it by eye. This is definitely a little bit lower. That's okay. Again, this is for function, not for form. We'll put the TV back together because realistically, the rest of this is pretty simple, and I don't want to bore you guys with unnecessary video. I don't know. We could have used different fans, but kind of seeing where those boards ended up being, the plan that we had from the beginning just kind of went out the window. The plan was actually to put these fans down at the bottom and have them blow up. And I was going to be 3D modeling something, but when you actually get to the product that you're working on, sometimes things change. And this is one of those instances where those things change. So always be ready, willing, and able to think on your feet. Now, last time I thought we were good to go, so I'm going to remain optimistically cautious and hope for the best on this. We have a scorcher of a day tomorrow. It is going to reach something like 33°C here. But thankfully, it is a little bit later at night, so it has cooled down and I am not sweating through my darn clothes. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on this one. Let me know in the comments if you like these style of maker videos. I'm still working on kind of the way that these should go. To pre-plan this out and, you know, really get it right, guys, I would have never done it because we would have had to take the whole thing apart, see what's inside of it, figure out what we were going to do, have all of our shots ready, and I don't have any of that. I just don't have any of that. So no big deal. I thought the video went well. Let me know down in the comments your thoughts. How would you have done this, or would have you said, I'm not going to go through all of this work, and I'm just going to buy a TV that works? I'd love to know down in those comments, because you can do cool stuff like this too, right? This is not just because I have some semblance of an idea of what I'm doing. There were quite a few errors in this video, but that's what happens. This is the fun of making, and I'm glad you guys were able to come along and hang out with me. So again, stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones, and as always, keep making awesome. Have a good one. Big dab here, big dab here, big dab here, and a big dab there. I can't believe I just did that on camera. Hey, thanks again so much for watching. If you enjoyed watching me fail, you might like the first video in this series where I thought the idea was great and it didn't work. It actually failed in the production of another video. It's kind of crazy how that one worked out, and the B-roll is absolutely fantastic for it. But remember, you can do this stuff too. You don't need engineering degrees. You don't. Just start making. You've got nothing to lose. This television was effectively dead to me. It did not work for its purposes. And even if we rip the fans off, it's gonna have 2 random holes in the back of it, but the TV will still work the way that it did. So no harm, no foul. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Again, right below me is gonna be a playlist all about 3D printing. Somewhere off to one of the sides will be a video that is chosen perfectly for you. Make sure you get subscribed. I will see you all down in the comments. Take care.